I've always loved muscle cars, 60s, hot rods in particular. Previous to Grant, probably the only good thing that came out of this boyfriend was that he was from Detroit and he knew everything about cars, and he was an art director. So he was very meticulous to detail. I had a hot rod, and then that's where it started because he knew how to do all the mechanics of that. So then I just hung out in basically in the garage with all these gearheads. Mm-hmm. and they taught me everything, and it was incredible. And you know, he would point to a car on the street and make me tell him what year it was. I'm only good with the 60s years, but I studied the year and when the fin came out, when we were going to the rocket, and a round well versus a square wheel well, or the smoker window, or what years they were doing that. You know, he would just quiz me on all of that stuff. Anyway, that's where I had the love of it, and that's where you know, I learned strength and weaknesses back then. I remember I was trying to change a tire on a 62 Chrysler 300, and it was very difficult for me with the strength to lift it up. Wow. And then out, and then try to get it up and onto the lug nuts there, and I couldn't do it, and it was so frustrating to me. I felt like such a girl, and I felt so weak. You know, back then I had this confusion about women or whatever, like it was something wrong. But so I had to have the guys help me with the tire. But then I realized all of the guys would come to me for trying to get into little crevices or where your hands can't fit. You know, they called me Squirrel. So they were like, Squirrel, come over here. And then I could do things that they were really struggling with. And so I realized, wow, everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. So capitalize on your strengths, and I could put things back together really fast because I would label every single part or screw or God, I'm forgetting the names of everything now. I feel like an old lady. The washer, that's what I was thinking of. Even the washers, you know, because you think when you're taking apart, oh, I'll remember how this goes back together. But you will be surprised that when you go to put it back together, I could not figure it out. So I would label every little thing and piece and so I could, and they were just like, how do you do that? So I really learned to capitalize on my strengths as a female in a man's world.